Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, Eric the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about Ohio Governor Mike Dewine nominating football coach Jim Tressel as a potential lieutenant governor pick for the next year or so. So, this whole thing just feels really, really weird. I just found out about this maybe an hour ago, give or take, because I was scrolling through some stuff, and then it said something about Tressel for governor, and I'm like, wait, what? Why would that be a thing? And then, of course, like the article I was reading was like, oh yeah, DeWine nominates Tressel for lieutenant governor now, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it makes no sense, dude. Like, it just the whole thing feels weird, like really suspicious in general, and it really does make me wonder, like, what the hell's going on in the state at this point, because it just all feels fishy, if that makes any sense. Like, it just feels very, very suspicious in general. And it really does make me question Mike DeWine's credentials at this point. And if he doesn't have dementia, honestly, because there's been that talk or like early onset Alzheimer's or something like that, because there's been talk about that for probably a good 5 years now, give or take. So, I don't know. It just feels real weird, especially when you start looking into like who is Mike DeWine, who is Jim Tressel. So first off, you got Mike DeWine, career politician, current lieutenant governor, has done pretty much everything in the state that he possibly can. Was a U.S. senator for a while, was a U.S. congressman for a while, has been governor, has been AG, has been, I believe, a state senator. I want to say he was a state rep. I know he was a county prosecutor when he first started his career here. And, like, I think the only thing he hasn't been was, like, Secretary of State, maybe. And, like, treasurer and auditor would be the other two, I guess. But I could be wrong about that one. I'm not 100%. I don't think he was ever in those roles, though. I think he was just basically senator and congressman and stuff for most of his career is what it was there. But yeah, so basically the guy is on his final year right now in the governor's office. He's termed out come 2026. The man is 78 years old, for God's sakes. Like, he was born in 1947, man. He'll be legitimately 78 this year. Or I guess he just turned 78 because there it says January 5th, 47. So yeah, dude's 78. And who does he pick for lieutenant governor for the next year? That, by the way, somebody he could have actually elevated to the governor's race, somebody he could have, invested in as a younger candidate for a governor's race. Oh no, he picks old man, not quite as old as DeWine, but old man, an ex-Ohio State coach, Jim fucking Tressel, who is 72, was born 1952, as a lieutenant governor nomination. Like, it's just so fucking weird. And then you got dumbass media like this. Ohio guy, Jim Tressel, a smart pick for lieutenant governor. It's like, no, he's not, dude. The dude, legitimately, with the exception of being the ex-president of Youngstown State, has no political background at all, as far as I'm aware. Like, he was a fucking football coach for decades, and then he was a president of a university for a little bit, and that's it. And that's who you want as lieutenant governor? Like, seriously? When there's, like, at least, like, 45 to 50 people, or more for that matter, that are in this state right now that aren't holding power for the Republican Party, that could have been better nominees than that, that could have been a lot younger nominees than that could have actually taken this state into the future and not to the fucking grave like these idiots are taking us nowadays. Like, it bothers me so much on that one, dude. It really does bother me on that one. I do want to see what these people said about Tressel being a good pick, though, since I haven't read this article yet. Let's see, Ohio State legend is in line to be next lieutenant governor. Mike DeWine. Says Terry Plateau believes Jim Tressel has a political and organizational skills to succeed. Always been an Ohio guy. Yeah, so he's basically just saying like about him being in Youngstown there or whatever. I don't know. It just like here's my thing, right? Like you had like going back like let's go back like 6 months, right, into the state of Ohio. So you're talking about, when Vance was obviously nominated for vice president, and then him and Trump obviously won the race, and that's what it was. So you had DeWine then when he was talking about when he was talking about picking senators and stuff like that, like picking somebody for the Senate to replace Vance, is what it was. Why didn't you just tap Tressel then? Why did you take Husted and put him in that role? It's just so stupid, dude, because you think about it, right? Like, you have a high profile role like that, and you're talking about somebody who can win races. Like, I think people would have voted for Tressel over Husted anyway. I know I would have as a senator at that point. I'm never voting for John Husted's ass, though, dude, because the guy's politically corrupt as fuck, is what it is. He's an idiot. He's a moron. And I've actually called him out on this channel twice in the last week or so for the shit he pulled with Pam Bondi's nomination for AG and stuff like that. I know he fucked himself on that one. Is not going to be primary because of that shit, probably, most likely, hopefully. So yeah, it just seems really weird to have Tressel, of all people, who basically could be DeWine's younger brother at this point, as lieutenant governor. And that's the thing, right? Like, if DeWine really wanted to better this state, there were so many better people he could have picked in that role, dude. He could have put Vivek Ramaswamy in that role and almost guaranteed him a governor's run next year. He could have tapped Dave Yost out of the AG's office, had whoever the deputy AG is right now, just have them elevate to the AG's office for the next, year, 14 months, whatever it be then, until primary season. And then you have Dave Yost as potentially like lieutenant governor and position him very well in that governor's race. Like there was those two better picks, obviously, right now. There was, like I said, you could have taken somebody like a Ron Hood right now, who's been a Pro 2A champion or General Assembly for years now, and of course was primaried out of office a couple years ago now is what it is. Tried to run for governor last go around, and I think ran in too late to the race is what it was, and that's the reason it was primary to one back in 2022 is what it was there. Plus, with Trump not picking anybody for endorsements then, it was very hard for anybody to really primary a sitting governor at that time. But the entire point is like, you had the opportunity to make good and pick somebody who, A, was a lot younger, that had a lot more years on their life right now, and B, was already politically involved in stuff. And like I said, every person I just mentioned, whether it be Vivek, whether it be Yost, whether it be Hood, hell, you could have picked Candace Keller for that matter. That's another person there. It's a woman, obviously. She was also pro 2A at that point. And the thing is, like, she's also very pro-life for that matter as well. But the entire point is, like, she's younger, but she's in her, I believe, 50s or so, maybe mid-50s or so. And that's the thing, man. Like, you have people that would have been, like, way younger than DeWine that, God forbid, something happens to the guy, like he suddenly dies of old age for something, or just has, like, a massive stroke or some shit. Like, you position somebody much better than that into power. Now, granted, I'm not going to sit there and say Yost is like that much younger, obviously, because I think Yost is in his 60s, if I'm not mistaken, but just check to confirm right now. Yeah, I guess Dave Yost is 68. So, but he's still like a decade younger than DeWine is right now. So, that's the point, though. Like, you have people that are like a little bit to a lot younger than you are, versus Tressel, who's like about half a decade younger than DeWine is right now. So, yeah, it just feels like it's just frustrating, I guess is the way I would say it. Like, from the aspect of being a voter in the state and being, because I guess for myself, like I was thinking about it this morning, like what I really am, honestly, because obviously I'm a 2A activist, advocate, etc., constitutionalist type. But more than that, I feel like I am a citizen journalist at this point, and very much I am a political analyst, is what I consider myself to be at this point, honestly, just because of how much I have followed politics at the state level and then the federal level too, for that matter. And the thing is, like, from that aspect of things, like, it just feels like such a fucking, like, out of left field kind of pick thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make any sense, honestly. And it's very bothersome. for that aspect alone. When there could have been like so many better choices. Like it really bothers me. It really does. And then of course you had, I forget what state the guy was from in Congress. Literally froze up on this in the halls of Congress the other day. Either had a stroke or some kind of other stuff like that. It was either a stroke or he was like the dementia drugs were wearing off or something there. And again, it kind of brings back the point that I've been making for the last several years now is what it is, which is at what point do we just start having automatic disqualification to receive power in this country? Whether it be age limits, health limits, term limits, etc. there. And it's like, yeah, when you are literally freezing up in office, like, at what point is enough enough, Like, at what point is like, okay, you're done here. Like, get the fuck out. We're going to, have a special election now. We're going to choose somebody else to take over this congressional seat or the Senate seat, or whatever it's going to be then. And your ass is gone. Your ass is finished in politics, period. End of story. So it's just like all these fuckface Democrats now that are all against the auditing of the USAID stuff and the shutting down of USAID. Like, they're all corrupt as shit is what it is, dude. And I guarantee if there was proper audits done there would be either direct payments or indirect payments to their campaigns is what it is there. Bribes is what it would be then. And that's why you got Elizabeth Warren bitching and moaning the other day about it was the consumer stuff or whatever here in the last day or so. And I guarantee, like I was saying on Honda's chat last night, this woman probably has like, 25 different paychecks coming from these places, what it is there, through like various bribe money and stuff. So, yeah, it's very, very bothersome, dude. Like, honestly, if it was up to me, I would say everybody that's in power right now, with the exception of very few, like, you kick everybody out immediately and you start fresh with brand new people that never held office at all in this country. Because truthfully, like, a few hundred people across the board right now, or maybe like a couple thousand if you go like all the states and stuff like that, at like state levels and things like that too. Like, if you took like 2,000 people throughout every single state in this country, and we're like, okay, you're now a sitting state rep, or you're now a sitting state senator, you're now a federal senator, you're now a federal congressman, whatever it is there. I guarantee you those like 2,000 people that are just random everyday Americans would probably do a better job than most of the motherfuckers that are sitting in power right now is what it is. And it's sad to say that. It's very sad to say that, but it's true though. Because eventually, and this is the problem with money in politics is what it is, and I've mentioned this for years now is what it is when you have this weird threshold to even get into office where you basically have to make like backdoor deals with people that are multimillionaires or billionaires or something else for that matter, or like, a group of like hedge fund managers or something like that kind of thing, whatever it is, that have a bunch of money to give you as political donations and things. Like, unless you're willing to cut deals with these people behind closed doors, you're not going to get into office because you're not going to have the money to run is what it is. And that's my biggest problem right now from a grassroots perspective of, somebody who's tried to run for governor in the past, who's tried to run for other seats of power in the past with no money behind me. Because the thing is, like, if I had like, like, for instance, like if I was going to do a real run in 2022 for the governor's office and I would have had about 10 million bucks behind me, I could have taken that money and used it strategically and very smartly through various internet things and things like that, that I'd probably be a sitting governor right now, honestly. Or at least, at minimum, I would have been a sitting state senator at that point. So, with like probably like maybe a third of that money, so like let's say $3 million or something. But yeah, and it's sad to think about that, right? They would take like potentially like $3 million to become a state senator in Ohio. Maybe not quite that much, maybe a few $100,000, but like in order to primary an incumbent, yeah, it would take probably at least $1 million anyway, is my guess at this point. Considering it used to be $1 million for U.S. Senate, and now it's more like probably a zero on the end of that number. So like at least 10 million would be my assumption, maybe 20 million. I mean, how you look at some of these races in the last 6-7 years now, whether it be for governor's offices, whether it be for U.S. Senate seats, etc., where you've had these people lose that were either Democrats or Republicans, and they spent, I think it was like $20 or $25 million on the seat, dude, to lose that race. Like, that's the crazy part, is you have people pissing away $20 to $25 million on a position of power they lost. Or even worse for that matter, you got Kamala last year. In the time span of like 6 to 8 months, this woman somehow blew through $2 billion with a fucking B dollars to lose the presidency. Like, how the fuck do you blow through $2 billion in like half a year? Unless you are literally handing money to people at that point, like stacks of 100,000 at a time or something, dude. Like, you're just like throwing like a stack of cash into somebody's pocket, like every time you walk past someone. Because that's the only explanation I have on that one. Either that or she embezzled like $1 billion fucking dollars or something herself, if that be the case, maybe. Which would make sense. And now you got a bunch of morons talking about this fucking dumb cunt being potentially a Democrat nominee for California governor next year to replace Newsom's scumbag ass. I was watching some news station the other day here at my sister's place, and they were talking about, I guess there's a guy named, I think it was like Rick Caruso or something like that, that lost some kind of mayoral bid. I don't know if it was for the LA mayor or what it was there, but they're talking about that guy potentially being the Republican nominee for California governor's race next year, and him having a potential successful shot at getting it too. Which the thing of it is, like, truthfully, if you didn't have corruption in politics right now, if you didn't have literally voter fraud going on everywhere in this country, especially with Newsom's ass there in California, Larry Elder would already be governor of California at this point and be doing good stuff to make that state a better place now is what it is. Instead, you got piece of shit Newsom who cheated his way through a recall, committed massive voter fraud, then by illegals, then quote-unquote fortified elections after that, meaning essentially what he did was basically like made it so that they couldn't audit elections after that to prove he was committing voter fraud, and then stole the fucking race in the 2022 midterms as well for a re-election and screwed Larry Elder over on that one. And yeah, it's basically fucked California for the last 3 years now again. So I don't know. It just all feels fucked up, dude. And like I said, going full circle back to the Dewine Tressel thing here in Ohio, like, it just feels like it's just a weird pick. It's like, really, like a fucking football coach? Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, it just seems like such a weird, like, I don't know. I guess the only real, like, to me, honestly, like obviously a worse pick would have been him picking like an idiot like Anthony Gonzalez, who was a scumbag rhino sack of shit, like no one. But yeah, it just feels very fucking fishy that like you're gonna choose a dude who's like 5 to 6 years younger than you are right now, and is basically probably about the same health you are, honestly, just due to old age and stuff like that. Apparently, on top of all that, I guess as of yesterday, canned tuna sold at Costco and Trader Joe's is now being recalled over botulism risk. So that's nice. That's real fucking nice. Go ahead and pull this story up real quick for a minute here. Just popped up on my feed here. Yeah, canned tuna sold at Costco, Trader Joe's recalled over botulism risk. Jesus Christ, dude. By the way, that's what happens when you hire illegals to can our fucking food. That's what happens when you hire illegals to process our fucking food in this country that don't know shit about fucking processing food or preserving fucking food and making sure it doesn't have a bunch of fucking bad shit in it. Now you got potential botulism risks in fucking tuna, dude, for God's sakes. By the way, for those who don't know, botulism is odorless and tasteless, for that matter. So yeah, you could easily eat something and die from that. And the reason I bring up that, obviously, is we're going to lead into a story about an area of Ohio right now that is very downtrodden, being Alliance, Ohio. So back in the day, this is around the time of the Great Depression. I think I told this story a couple times before, but I'll tell it again now. So around the time of the Great Depression, you had people back then that were like the rich elites of the town and stuff like that, that were potentially like the millionaires of their time, whatever it was there. maybe not quite millionaires, but like, like 100,000ers, I guess it would be, or something like that. Like just like basically like the political powerhouses is the best way to describe them, honestly. So you had these people that were getting together at the time. Obviously, this is a Great Depression time period. You had everybody like scrimping and saving and canning, everything else like that back then, and basically eating what they could and preserving what they could, obviously, and having the knowledge to do that stuff, obviously. So you had the one dude whose wife, I think that, I don't know if this guy was mayor at the time or exactly what he was at that point in time in history, but it was basically his wife had pickled a bunch of eggs, I believe was what it was, in like this giant jar. And, she thought she pickled them right, obviously, but apparently she did not, because they did have botulism in them. And then it was her and like, I think about 6 or 7 other people that were at this party that were the political powerhouses at the time that would have basically what Columbus is today here in 2025 as the, root of Ohio, as the political marker here for our General Assembly, et cetera, there. That's basically what Alliance should have been. Like, they should have been, the State House should have been there in Alliance and stuff like that. And if these people hadn't died, it would have been that way. But unfortunately, this woman basically, brought this jar of eggs that she didn't know had botulism in them, ate at least a couple of them herself because she died too, as well as what it was in that situation. And then I forget who was like 5 or 7 other people died as a result of that as well. And because of that, like all these dudes that were like essentially like the millionaire types of their time, there is what it was, that could have made, Alliance's powerhouse political landscape. Their entire bloodlines died out because of that. And it just never happened then. And it's why that particular city has gone downhill since then, in the decades since. Really almost a century since. So, yeah, it's kind of sad, actually, because it would be interesting to see an alternate timeline where that actually didn't happen, and you had, Alliance be like this big major city in Ohio then, instead of like a smaller city / big town. So, as it is right now, I've been having to deal with a bunch of stupid shit now because apparently the place I thought I was going to move into may not be happening now, and I'm going to have to go find a new place to live now is what it is, because what happened there is you basically it was supposed to be a month to 6 weeks. I was supposed to be coming down here, staying with my sister. And it was supposed to be a whole thing where the adjacent property that is by the house that I'm going to be renting for the next year or two now, at least, or I'm supposed to be renting for the next year or two anyway. It had to have like water and sewer and stuff like that dealt with it and stuff. And because obviously it was holidays, it was like, oh, it's going to take a little bit longer time than it needs to or whatever. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. I'll be up there, like before February 1st, basically. I'll be, like mid-January, late January, I'll be up there and stuff. Nope, I'm still down here. And now it's gotten to the point in the last week or two that instead of the guy who is selling the property doing everything the way he should have, he basically waited this 4 to 6 weeks to then inform the realtor / landlord that I'm trying to rent from that, oh, by the way, now it's got to go through probate and shit. And that was supposed to be done at some point last week, but it still has not been done, I guess, as of yesterday. So I don't know what the fuck's going on, but if something doesn't change in the next week or so, like I'm going to have to look into a different rental at this point, at least temporarily, because I've now had to cancel 2 very important doctor's appointments twice that should have happened in January and then here in February because of this bullshit. And technically, I should have been going to the one yesterday. I believe it was, or even no, was it yesterday? Today? No, it's today. Today should have been one of them, actually. That I had to reschedule the other day, and now it's going to be sometime in March is what it'll be. So, yeah, it's just fucking ridiculous what it is, dude. Like, I'm so done with all this shit. And I know my sister wants to move on. She told me that last night. She's like, yeah, I want to get the hell out of here, because her plan was after I left here, obviously, was to move out of the current place she's living in here and move in with the guy she's seeing is what it is then. And that's holding them up now because I'm still here. And it's kind of ironic, too, because, this is something I kind of talked about 6-8 months ago was, why the hell are we selling my mother's property in 2024 anyway? Like, let's wait until January 25 and do it then. Because obviously this is before the election. I was like, yeah, Trump wins, it's going to be worth more money and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. Like, why wouldn't we just wait and sell later is what it is. So, but no, it was her decision to basically be the executor, and, ultimately I had no say in it, which is absolute bullshit because I was living at the fucking property the whole time. So, yeah, it basically became this whole clusterfuck of, bunch of shit, honestly, and then everything else is then me just moving directly into the new place is just this fucked up holdup is what it is, man. So, I don't know. It's just very irritating. I was looking at some places too, and like, unfortunately, the only places I can find are legitimately in Alliance right now. Like, there's nothing closer than that, from what I can tell. There's it's a couple nice places, but then again, it's like I don't know, if there's going to be a whole issue or if I would even be able to get in these places. And then even then, like, would it be like a temporary thing where it's like, yeah, I actually want to move to this other place, but it's being held up or whatever. So I'm gonna need like, see if I could do like a 3-month lease with them, or like even maybe like a month-to-month lease with them or something like that. And then it would be a whole thing of moving twice then. But then the first thing would be if I moved to this other place, it would be basically, I would want, like, if I moved to new places, would it be for a couple months, I'd want to be something where it's like the bare minimum at that point, where it'd just be like a piece of furniture to like sit on, and then like a bed basically, and some clothes and stuff, some towels, a few personal belongings, a couple pots and pans, et cetera, for cooking and whatnot. And then everything else would just be semantics at that point. Everything would just be still, being kept for me at the other places would be then. So, but yeah, it's just fucking irritating is what it is, man. The real problem too is if I moved into these other places over an Alliance, there'd be nobody around me that could help me out and stuff like that. And then me still not having a license at this point, which is another thing I should have already got at this point, honestly. But, because of all this bullshit holding me up now, haven't been able to get driving lessons yet. So, just sucks, man. I mean, the ironic thing is, with everything going on right now and the people that bought the place from us having made me a previous offer, potentially coming back in the future, like, I know that they've already gutted the house here in the last week or so, or last few days, the last week or so. And, depending on how quick they could basically put a new bathroom in there and a new, like other stuff, like range and whatnot, like, it's not improbable that I move back there, honestly, for a little bit of time. Not that I really want to do that, obviously, but like, it's a situation where like I'm kind of laughing because, like, it's like, yeah, move out of this place, just move back into it like months later where it's all renovated and shit. Like, it makes no sense, honestly, but I don't know, man. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I mean, it could, obviously, depending on how long I'd be here. But yeah, I gotta deal with this shit though, because it's fucking ridiculous what it is. I'm just fucking over it is what it is, really, honestly. Like, I really have had it, honestly, at this point. So, and then the worst thing is, I wanted to go down to the State House a few times and do some testimony and stuff like that for various bills already, but can't even do that right now because my leg is so messed up because I haven't had a chiropractic adjustment in over 3 months now. So, because nobody around here does activator, and as far as I'm aware, even the hands-on chiropractic they do around here, I have no idea if they take my insurance or not, is what it is. So, because my leg is definitely popping out of socket again like it's been for years now. And I definitely need to go get an adjustment as quickly as possible here. And it's like, yeah, like every day I'm not up there right now is what it is. Like, just holding me up is what it is. Not to mention, I got some things that I got for Black Friday that I was going to do build outs on, and I can't even do that shit yet because You know, fucking ridiculous what it is, dude. So, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if I believe it is the state senate would have to approve Tressel as lieutenant governor, though. So it depends if they would want to do that or not. I assume that they probably will, but there would still have to be like a hearing and stuff, and I don't know how long that's going to be now. So yeah, potentially we're over 3 weeks at this point. No lieutenant governor. We have a nominee for it. Obviously, it depends on how long they can before they would do the actual process to, you know, have a hearing on Tressel and stuff like that. Was it be there, and if he's going to be in there or not, then. But it also does shake up the governor's race for next year because now potentially you would have Tressel also in there, along with Yost and Ramaswamy. So it'd be at least a three-way, like, name at this. It would be a three-way set of names at this point, really. I know there's a lot of people giving Vivek shit because of his Indian heritage and stuff like that, and being like, nobody wants an Indian. It's like, dude, fuck you. Like, that's actually pure racism at that point. You're just being a dickhead. And that's my thing. Like, that's exactly why I've already endorsed Vivek at this point, bro, because the dude is younger. He has decades, potentially, of his life to help this state be better is what it is. Like, why wouldn't you want that? Why wouldn't you want somebody on the younger side who, you know, already has a business aspect to his life that potentially can make this state so much better in the future for younger people? It's just pure ignorance is what it is, dude. And I feel like these are the same people that just want the old guard bullshit, corruption continue to play in this fucking state is what it is there. And I'm sick and tired of that crap for decades now, dude, is what it is. I've been sick and tired of that shit for over 7 fucking years now is what it is. Actually, it's more like about 9 years because it was around 2016, 2017 time period there was when I started looking into the Ohio politics after Trump won there. And yeah, ever since I started looking into the state right now, just like the pay to play shit and just the direct bribes that Democrats are taking from Officer Man Action and other anti-gun groups, et cetera, et cetera. It's a bunch of shit, honestly. And then, of course, going on that for a minute before we leave today, I do want to talk about that fuckbag Casey Weinstein again because that dude is a sack of fucking garbage. He has actively broken term limits several times and has basically done a bunch of shady shit to hang on, I'm trying to find the bill right now. Yes, and a bunch of shady shit to get his way back into power when he should be in federal prison right now for fucking with people's rights is what it is. So yeah, I'll go over there's a bunch of different anti-gun bills that have gone through the General Assembly right now. So yeah, you got universal background checks as HB 45 now. That was a week ago. Same day they try to do red flag laws. Then you got douchebags doing HB 75 increased penalty for failure to report lost or stolen firearm. And of course, that is fuckface Weinstein on there, as well as the rest of the Democrats in the state Senate. And then I'm trying to figure it out. I know there was one. Oh, I didn't even know this one. This is some bullshit that was introduced 2 years ago. Authorized tax credit for handgun training and firearm storage. Of course, there's a bunch of fucking piece of shit Democrats trying to pull that shit. By the way, Blacksphere should not be in a state or a state senate either, for that matter, because he was in the state house a little bit ago. Yeah, let's see this retard bullshit. Authorize a non-refundable income tax credit for the cost of handgun training and firearm storage and locking devices. Or you could just give us money, fuckfaces. How about that? How about instead of some bullshit income tax credit, you're actually like, hey, here's money, or here's, I don't know, fucking free training, or here's a free gun lock. But no, you're not going to do that because you're a bunch of fucking ass clowns, dude. Because you act like you give a shit, but in reality, you're just a bunch of fucking shills from Mom's Man Action and a bunch of other fucking cunts that hate gun rights. So, yeah, I've just fucking had it with these goddamn people, dude. I really fucking have. Yeah, there's one that I saw this morning that I'm trying to figure out what it is. It's something about domestic violence abusers or something, I believe is what it was. Actually, I guess I can look up that way. Domestic violence. Yeah, here we go. 98, which was introduced 2 days ago. Prohibit firearm possession, certain domestic violence offenses. So basically what it is you would make first degree misdemeanor, not felony, by the way, misdemeanor charges for domestic violence where some cunt could lie about some dude, which has happened many, many times in the past, a prohibiting thing. And of course, who's part of this? Fucking piece of shit Weinstein and that motherfucker Herschel Craig is what it is. Yeah. Prohibited person who is charged with or has been convicted. This is where it gets real shady, by the way. So, charged with or convicted of first degree misdemeanor domestic violence from possessing a firearm or dangerous ordinance. That's completely unconstitutional, dude. Because the thing is, like I think I've told this story a few times now. There was a guy who was the brother-in-law of my old neighbor, and it was one of his exes. And mind you, Ohio's not a red flag state. We're not a universal background check state, thank God. But this guy, about probably 7 years ago now, or so, give or take, it was one of his exes that was all jilted and stuff like that, lied about him coming around and like assaulting her and stuff like that, put this man's life through hell, had state agents, the cops, etc., illegally take possession of this man's firearms for months of his life to where he couldn't protect his family, which, by the way, he had a wife and I believe it was 2 or 3 young daughters at that time. So he left this man completely defenseless at that point. And it was not until months after this that this trial was going through and stuff like that, that the woman that was accusing him kept changing her story and eventually was changing on the stand is what it was, to where some judge is like, wait a minute, that's not the story you said, in the last hearing here or whatever it was, and eventually called her on her bullshit is what it was, and was like, no, give that man back his guns right now. But mind you, that cunt that was lying under oath, as far as I'm aware, got almost nothing. Like, she maybe got, like, a small charge. It wasn't a felony. It was, like, a misdemeanor charge or something like that. And it was maybe, like, a year in prison or something at most. When it should have been decades. Like, this is exactly why I am a 2A advocate. This is exactly why I fight for the Second Amendment for people. Because it's bullshit. Every fucking anti-gun law on the books right now is an infringement on the Second Amendment in this country. Every state that has not become a constitutional carry state in this nation is infringing upon the rights of the people of this country because you are forcing bullshit permission slips to exercise a constitutional right to carry firearms in this nation, concealed or otherwise. So yeah, it's a bunch of crap in general, dude. But yeah, I'm real fucking sick and tired of it. I'm also real fucking sick and tired of all these states that have passed red flag laws and have taken away people's rights, whether it be Florida, that's done it for about the last 7 years now, whether it be, all these other ones. Connecticut was one of the first ones after I believe it was Columbine. Or was it Connecticut or was it New Hampshire? I think it was Connecticut. I believe Massachusetts has also jumped on that now, though. It's very ironic, too, when you look at it from that aspect of things, of how many of the original 13 colonies that became states after the fact are now a bunch of anti-gun hellholes in this country. So, yeah. Very disheartening for that matter. But anyway, I'm getting a little sleepy again. It's only 8:30 this morning, so kind of tired. Be interesting to see what Never Know Family and the family are up to there, because I know that he was saying last night when he jumped in Honda's chat that he had apparently gotten a late start. Which my thing is, I disagree with the way that he left there, because so my understanding was they were going to leave yesterday morning, but then they had to pack up a bunch of stuff, and so it was basically like late afternoon. And by the time they got on the road, it was like 5 or 6 o'clock at night. And I'm like, dude, no, you just call it a day at that point. You spend one more day in the state, and you get up ass early the next morning, and then you just drive like hell for the day, is what it is, or whatever. And then, have a motel ready or a hotel ready where we're just going to be there for the night. And you get to that hotel, is what it is, or whatever. And then you stop for that day, and then you go the next day, is what it is, or whatever. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like a smart move on his part, especially when you got young kids with you and the rest of the family too, for that matter. So, I don't know. I wish him luck, though. I do wish him luck, because I know he's going to be driving through some storms here. So, it'll be interesting to see how long it actually takes him to get from Texas to Michigan then, because I'm assuming it'll be probably not until Saturday or Sunday of this coming week. Although knowing him, he'd probably try and do it by like Thursday night, Friday morning or something, though. So, I don't know. If it was me, I'd spend the extra time, though, just because, just making sure everybody has enough sleep. Because the thing is, you only got like X amount of drivers there, too. So, yeah, I think I would definitely get to a point where I'd just be like, no, we're going to do this. And then, make like strategic stops is what it is there and whatnot. Make sure everything is super locked up. If nothing else, even if you don't stop at like, like hotels or whatever or something, like at least, do a rest stop kind of deal or whatever, like do some strategic rest stops or something like that and just sleep in the vehicles or something for a few hours. So, I don't know. I don't think I'd ever move across country like that, especially not in like a small time span. I mean, hell, it was hard enough for me to move like 20 something miles this time around. So, because I had a lot of stuff that I need to take with me. But I don't know, man. Like, it's a whole thing right now. The thing is, too, I feel like, and this is another reason why I really want to have, I really hope this place does work out that I'm going to try to move into right now, because at that place, I could potentially have like yard sales and stuff like that, like all throughout the spring/summertime of like the things I don't really want anymore, and I could just start paring down and whatnot, versus if I was going to go some other place or whatever, it would be a whole hell of a lot harder, and it would be me having to deal with a bunch of stupid bullshit and basically having to do a bunch of posts on various like Craigslist style sites and stuff like that. Obviously not Craigslist, but other stuff, But I should have already moved out. Like they should have already been being moved into the new place like 2 months ago. But then it was the whole thing that backed it up with everything going on with my realtor/landlord having to deal with a bunch of city fuckeries, what it is there over the holidays, and now it's just some probate bullshit backing up even more so. So I don't know. I'm hoping in the next couple of days here. It was originally we were talking about this coming Saturday, but I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna happen or not. I hope it does, but I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. If it is going to be Saturday, though, I got to do a lot of stuff in the next couple of days, though, like call up Spectrum and set up internet and stuff like that when I get there. So, yeah, just a whole bunch of fucking nonsense is what it is. But It's very infuriating all the way around. And like I said, just I don't know. I just wish it never come to this. But unfortunately, Mom made a stupid choice in her life, and it cost her her life. So, or if she had just been honest with me, I could have, been like, no, don't take that shit. And we'd probably both still be here and be living at the old homestead. So, I'm just over it at this point, honestly. One thing I do need to look into, obviously, when I get to the new place, is I definitely need to look into some grief counseling because I definitely have unresolved issues right now with everything, and I definitely want to, talk to somebody about that kind of stuff. So, professional, if you will. But anyway, yeah, other than that, though, that's pretty much where I'm at for the day right now. So, yeah, to reiterate everything, Mike Dewine, current Ohio governor, has chosen ex-Ohio State football coach Jim Tressel for the nomination of lieutenant governor at this point. Weird choice, I personally think. Like I said, there was a lot more people that have a lot more political knowledge in the state that could have been much better choices. There's a lot younger people in the state that are already in the governor's race or talking about running for the governor's race next year. That could have been good people to tap in that situation and given them a whole year of basically campaigning for free. But yeah, it's just a very odd situation there because now, as other people bring it up, it's like, is Tressel going to run for governorship himself next year or not? And it's like, I don't know. But all you're doing right there is just splitting the vote, really, is what it is. And it just feels very. It feels like kind of a scumbag move on Dewine's part. Like it's like of all the things that this motherfucker has done to this state and has screwed us over in the state, and it's like it's basically one last fuck you to Ohio voters at this point, honestly. And I'm pretty much sick and tired of all of it, dude. So I don't know. It is what it is. Apparently, some woman from another country is trying to tariff America with 100% tariffs on Teslas and stuff like that. Like, well, good luck on that one. You're not going to win that war, lady. So, oh, for those that haven't heard about it, I guess there is a lot of legit talk going around now about Trump's attempted assassination in Butler, Pennsylvania, either having direct ties to current Governor Josh Shapiro or at least a criminal network of people in the state of Pennsylvania is what it is. So if you go to Alex Jones' X page right now, he's talking about that last night, where it says Pennsylvania investigators found strong evidence of a criminal network handling Trump's attempted assassination in Butler, PA. FBI on multiple occasions threatened private investigators conducting interviews / research on behalf of candidate Trump. So, yeah, crazy stuff, man. Yeah, people were saying a lot of deep state stuff going on there. It wouldn't surprise me, man. I mean, you think about it, like, who would have benefited most from Trump being killed back then? Obviously, the Democrat Party would be a big one. But then he would have also had all these globalist motherfuckers like Soros, Bloomberg, the Rothschild family, Rockefeller family, the royal family, etc. That all make up Bilderberg. So, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me in the least, especially when you had, I forget who it was in the U.S. Congress / Senate like 4 or 5 months ago now,
who was on, it was either the House floor or Senate floor at the time, talking about shadow governments and stuff like that. And they were talking about all of Trump's nominees and stuff like that for various cabinet positions, whether it be RFK Jr., whether it be Bondi and stuff like that. And they're like, well, here's who the Democrats are going to pick as like this shadow AG or this shadow Health and Human Services Secretary and stuff like that. And it's like, what the like, dude, this is fucking high treason that you're talking about. Like, what the fuck are you talking about here? And the fact that every single one of these sons of bitches that they were talking about weren't immediately arrested on the fucking spot for high treason and a fucking coup against a sitting president or future sitting president at that point, obviously, I guess is what I'd say, is everything wrong with this country on us right now, dude. So, yeah, it really is time to bring back like hard punishments for these fucking people. You know what high treason was always meant to be, obviously, and you all know what I'm saying on that one. I'll leave it at that. So, anyway, but yeah, till later. I'll be back at some point in the future. I'm not exactly sure when. I've been obviously doing limited streams here at my sister's place because obviously it's hard for me to do anything any time because she's always around in the afternoon after work, and it's a very small apartment. So, highly doubtful. If I do any more from this place, it'll be probably Thursday, I would think. Or no, today's Wednesday, right? It depends if I'm still here on the weekend or not. Like if I have time on the weekend, I might do one. Or it might just be me doing Honda's chat on Sunday then. So it all depends. But yeah, I'm going to play it by ear at this point. She does not own a car. Yeah, she doesn't own a car. She does Uber and stuff like that when she needs to get around. Which I've told her that before. I'm like, yeah, why don't you just get a vehicle? She's like, yeah, but it's like vehicle maintenance and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but if something ever happens down here, like you're just fucked, then is what it is. So that being said, I mean, if she moves in with the guy she's dating right now, he has a vehicle, obviously, and a license and stuff. So it's not like he couldn't just drive him around or whatever. I get him out of the city then, but that's also, future stuff. But yeah, it is kind of irritating actually. So, but yeah, that's one thing with me, like, especially wherever I'd move to, like, because there's some of these places that I've seen if I had to move to a different apartment and stuff where it's like nothing around it. And right now, with the way that my limited mobility is, I would have to have a vehicle or something to get around then and get some stuff. So, which I guess technically I have downloaded like Uber and Lyft now is what it is, but I really don't want to use ride shares just because number one, it's like a shitload of money that you're not getting back ever for like a ride. And it's also a situation of, I don't know, it just feels weird to like get into somebody else's vehicle, that you don't know. And like, you don't know if they're armed. You don't know if they're like even some real Uber driver or not, or if they're just like, some person that's like using the app just to like rob people or something like that for all you know. So yeah, it is what it is, man. But like I said, hopefully we'll be hearing from the landlord dude here in the next day or so and get a more definitive update on exactly when the hell I could potentially move into the new place to be then. It won't be a fucking issue. I gotta go find a new place to live now is what it is after all this shit. But yeah, because like, and the thing is, I don't blame him for all this. I really don't, because it sounds to me like he was basically being kept out of the loop by the person that was selling the place to begin with about certain things. And it was like, even he said, he was, back during this whole thing before it even started, like, he's like, bro, like, y'all could be doing this over here while this man is living in this house. Like, why the hell are you fucking him over at this point? Meaning me. And it's like, exactly, like, why the hell are they fucking me over, Like, y'all could have just sold the place to him, like, 2 months ago, gotten the hell out, got it through probate and stuff like that, had me move in there, and been handing him money as a tenant now is what it is. Instead, you're just dicking him around, which is all fucking me over is what it is then. And it's kind of funny because, obviously, my sister said it about a week or two ago, and then my aunt, she was talking to this weekend, so the same thing. They're like, yeah, it's a good thing Adam didn't go live in a extended stay hotel for a while, which is apparently the other option that was given to me, and I'm like, yeah, it's not happening. So, because I would have been several $1,000s in the hole right now is what it is, which would have been no good, obviously. So, but yeah, I'm just overall what it is right now. So I'm just ready to get the hell out of here and move on with my life and let my sister move on with her life and get acclimated to a new place as what it is right now. And that's the thing. Like, at least if I could move in this weekend, potentially, hopefully, like, it'd be a big deal then, because I would at least have a couple weeks to acclimate to the new place versus, God forbid, it's going to be another week and a half or something. And I'd be like a few days before March or something like that. And I got to do a bunch of stupid shit real quick. Then is what it is or something. And then basically get acclimated right before I can go do a bunch of doctor's appointments. Then is what it'll be. So, but yeah, it's just very fucking infuriating right now. And yeah, I'm just pretty much over all of it is what it is right now. Like, I'm just sick and tired of everything. So really, I'm just ready to get back to my stuff is what it is, and be a lot more comfortable in the armaments I have with me is what it is right now. So really, just not having a long gun with me right now is a big pain in the ass in case something were to go down. So, and then of course having stuff that I can't build out right now because I don't have access to it. So, but anyway, hopefully it'll all work out pretty quick though, and what it is, and I can get some people to do some stuff for me with some lowers and whatnot, and then have a couple more things I can add to the pile in the gun cabinet or something like that. It will be. So, but anyway, that's about it for today, though. Dewine's an idiot. Is how we're gonna leave this episode off, and I can't wait for this guy to be gone as governor of the state already, and have a way more competent person in that position of power pretty soon, which is still like a year off. But yeah, hopefully by then I'll be able to actually, and also every day that I'm not up in this area too, I can't, there's a lot of stuff I got to redo now is what it is. Like, specifically, I need to like redo my voting registry so I can not only vote, but I can actually run for office. Then is what it is. And without having that stuff done properly, I am really in a catch-22 right now is what it is, of being politically fucked right now is what it would be if something were to happen. So, yeah. It just sucks, man. And of course, I also got to update my ID at some point in the future so I can actually potentially buy guns again from someplace if I need to ever buy guns again from any place. Just so I'd have an active driver's license with the actual address that I live at now on it. So, but yeah, it's like a lot of stuff I got to deal with. And it's like every day I'm not in a new place to do that is a real pain in the ass is what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, that's about it for today, though. Like I said, I'll be back. I'm not exactly sure when yet. Hopefully not. Well, if I can get up there this week, it won't be this week, obviously. I'll do a stream at some point from the new place. It'll probably be, like, I guess technically if it was something where I can get up there, like we get everything good to go or whatever, I can set something up for like this weekend or whatever. If it was like Saturday or Sunday that I got up there, it would probably be like Monday or Tuesday of next week would be new place stream kind of thing or something like that. But if it's not that quick, again, I'd be playing by ear at that point. And like I said, unless something like real big goes down, I don't plan on doing any streams on this channel until I move basically into the new place. So, but yeah, I just figured I'd come out here and say this stuff about what's going on with the state, though, because it is politically relevant at this point, honestly. And it just, like I said, it just feels like a weird pick to pick a dude whose entire name recognition is being a football coach as a lieutenant governor, potentially. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's better candidates than that for the position, but, Mike Dewine is potentially dementia out or Alzheimer's out or something like that, and doesn't want to admit to that. Maybe that's why he's making these moves. Maybe he's not making the moves at all. Maybe it's somebody else making moves on his behalf, kind of thing, or something. Who knows? But I don't know. It just seems like a really weird, out of left field kind of pick, is what it is there. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shapes up the governor's race for next year. Is what it'll be then. If Tressel does get confirmed, obviously, as lieutenant governor, and if he decides to then run for the governor's race in 26 or not. So, but anyway, till then, I will see you guys in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, peace out. Always be carrying all that good stuff, and fuck gun grabbers, because all their oath breaking asses should be in prison right now. End of story. Later, y'all.